We are continuing with our Matisse inspired fish bowls. The first step will be to, using your pencil, add any other details or textures or whatever else that you want in the image. I'm going to add a plant, sansevieria, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, snake plant as they call it, right down at the bottom. And I think I'll add a carpet and some other little details in the fish tank. As far as what's going to go on my walls, I'm going to just do that straight with crayon in a couple minutes. So I'm just roughly sketching out because I'm going to trace that with crayon, so I'm not worried about perfect little lines, and I'm doing it very, very lightly. You can see my grip on the pencil is far back, and I'm just keeping it loose. So now I'm adding my rug, and it runs off the page, just a sort of circular oval shape. And I am sorry that I cut off the bottom of the image there, but that's all right. You'll get the main idea. I was thinking about putting like a tablecloth on my table, but nah, I don't want that. Instead, I will add a couple more details in the bowl, little bits of grass, fish grass, I guess, seagrass, I don't know, what do you call it? And, well, I like candy, so I'm going to have a candy bowl on the table. So just a really simple little crescent shape with a few little circles to suggest candies. Nothing fancy, y'all. Nothing fancy. Keeping it simple, keeping it loose. All right. And so now we are going to move on to the next step, which is going to be using your crayons or your oil pastels, add details and patterns to your surfaces. All right. Avoid coloring them in because we will be adding watercolor to color in all the empty space next class. So using your crayons, just outline and add patterns to anything extra that you drew. Again, I apologize that my bottom is cut off there, but you'll be able to see a little bit more of it. So I'm just tracing my plant with a green, and I am pushing hard. I want a nice, solid, darker line because the watercolor needs to be able to sit on top of this, it kind of like repels it. If it's not pushed hard, the watercolor will soak in and you won't be able to see your crayon mark. And now I'm going to start tracing my rug. Again, I'm sorry I cut off part of it, but once I speed this up, you'll get the idea. You'll be able to see it as I move it around. So doing my rug now, giving it a solid line, tracing it, and speeding up. I'm going to give it a little texture fringe around the edge, and then I'm going to start filling in my rug with a pattern of lines and circles. And I cut it off. I'm so sorry. So now I'm going to move on to adding a pattern to my wall. Matisse's work was very patterned and repetitive in the designs you'd see in it. I'm going with circles as I love doing circles, and it kind of made me think of bubbles in the fish tank. So a variety of green circles, big and small, and just kind of randomly. And on the other wall, I'm doing diagonal stripes with the same greens I used. And you can see that there, adding a few more circles. I drew lightly the circles that are behind the fish tank so that they could be covered up a little by the water. And at the bottom, I'm doing a wood pattern for my floor underneath the carpet. And then my table, I'm doing this sort of circular design, almost like pebbles with the rock. Now I'm coloring in some parts of my fish tank, but not all completely solid. So I got my blue fish. I just realized I did a blue fish, and then I'm going to do a red fish. Blue fish, red fish. It's like a Dr. Seuss. But anyway, just a simple red fish. I kind of made mine look like betta fish rather than goldfish. But there you go. You can see it coming together. So you see I still have lots of white space that I'll be able to add watercolor to next class. So make sure you have yourself set up for watercolor, something to protect your table if you need, and your cup of water. All right, we'll see you then.